All right, thank you for joining us today. And in the previous video, we talked about winning circle. I hope you enjoyed it. So in this video, we are going to talk about the sine graph, right? We are going to look at how we can also use the sine graph, right? So let's jump right in. So the sine graph is of this form, right? And we can see that this is how the sine graph is looking like. Very smooth, very nice. So that is how it goes. It goes up to infinity. So one thing that we can see is sine is a continuous function. So we can see that sine is a continuous function. Sine is a continuous function. Continuous function. That's the first thing that we need to know. We need to also know that sine is an odd function. Sine is an odd function. Why are we saying that it's an odd function? When we are talking about odd function, for example, if I have f of, let's say, x is equal to x, then we are trying to say that what is f of negative x? So f of negative x is like minus x. And then we know that this x here is here, which is equal to f of x. So I can write this one as minus f of x. So f of minus x is equal to minus f of x. So that's the idea of we saying that sine is an odd function. So it means that if I have sine of minus x is the same as minus sine x. So sine is an odd function, right? Now let's go through the graph and let's see. Now we can see that sine 0 is 0, sine pi is 0, sine 2 pi is 0, sine 3 pi is what? 0. But sine 90 is 1, sine pi on 3, sine 3 on 2 pi, sorry, is negative 1, and then sine 5 on 2 pi is also 1. So that is how the sine graph works, right? So all those that are not fraction, like this could be 2 over 2, this could be 4 over 2, but we can see that all those that are not function, they are not fraction, they are giving us a 0, right? So if I want to find sine of anything which is not a fraction, like sine 6x, or let me see, I said 6x, sine, let me see, sine 2 pi, sine 1000 pi. Since they are not fraction, this is equal to 0 actually. So that is the idea. That's one way of looking at this one, right? Then all the odd ones, like the one which is in the form of fraction, you can see that sine 90 here is equal to 1, but sine 270, which is 3 on 2 pi, is equal to negative 1. So it's like we are alternating it. If this one is 1, we have 1, right? If this one is 3, we have the negative 1, 5. So it's like we have 1, 3, 5, 7, 9 going. So what you need to know is the first one here is 1, second one here is negative 1, 1, negative 1, 1, in that order. So the idea is that all I need to do is I need to even memorize that sine 90 is what? Sine 90 is 1, or sine pi on 2 is 1, which is getting me the 1. Then I can remember the rest. We are talking about odd. So since we are talking about odd numbers, I write all the odd numbers down. 1, 3, 5. So this one here is like 1 over 2 pi, 3 over 2 pi. But the idea is that I want to use the idea of, like, I'm looking at the top because the denominator are all the same. And then I'll be able to figure it out here, right? The thing is symmetric. So since it is symmetric, since sine is a symmetric function, it means that actually uh, we are going to have this one here. The one that we have here is going to be the same as, oh, I said sine is a symmetric function. Sorry, sine is a skewed function, because look at here. If I plug in minus, it turns out to be negative of that. So let's take this example and see if sine of what will be sine of negative pi on 2. Let's assume that you know sine of pi on 2 to be equal to 1. Then we know that this is the same as minus sine of pi on 2, which we just learned from here. And this is going to give us minus 1, because I know that this one is equal to what? 1. So one thing that you need to know is you can decide to learn the right hand side, right? Always there is a bonus in learning, right? So you can learn the right hand side, but remember, sine is an odd function, which is a skewed one. So if I plug in minus here, the minus will just come out and come and multiply the sign. So if I know anything here, any results that I'm going to get here, its minus will be minus of that, right? So for example, sine of 90 is what? 1, but sine of 3 over 2 pi is minus 1. So it means that sine of minus 3 over 2 pi will be positive, because it's minus. This is minus, so it will be minus minus, which is going to give us positive. So this is how the sine function works, right? So continuous function is an odd function, and you need to learn just one side, just this side, and you should be okay with the sine graph. So sine of 90 is 1, sine 0 is 0, in that order. And then I think that is all. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. And in the next video, we are going to look at also the cos function, and we'll look at how we are going to see. So this is, don't forget, sine is a continuous function. It's an odd function, which gives us this, and then how we can also read the sine function. See you in the next video.